That's the greeting that I've been giving you guys before too. And I just wanted to talk about the greeting, just so you know what I'm saying. It's Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. And so Khalsa is the pure army of the Sikhs, and Vaheguru means God. And so, and Fateh means victory. So it's saying, the first line saying that the pure army of the Sikhs belongs to God, and victory belongs to God. And it's the whole idea of being humble, like that nothing really belongs to you. Every victory of yours, every triumph of yours, every success of yours is not yours. It's only by the grace of God that you receive any kind of victory. And next slide. So Mansoor emailed me about this last week, and thank you for being so patient with me. I was really slow in getting back to her. You're awesome. And when I got the topic, I was really confused. I even had to email Mansoor back for clarification, and as I started to think about it more and started to ask my Sikh friends about what they thought about it, I started to think about the different kinds of discrimination, the discrimination of sex, religion, color, caste, all the different kinds of discrimination. And I started to think, you know what? Sikhi is all discrimination. The whole purpose of Sikhi is to discriminate from a very young age. I was born in a Sikh family. My parents have been religious my whole life. And so all the values of Sikhism have been instilled in me from very young age. And everything from the beginning is you have a situation put in front of you, you discriminate it. And but it's not the kind of discrimination you're thinking about, well maybe you're thinking about. It's discrimination between what's right and what's wrong. And you can go to the next slide. And we can only discriminate between what's right and what's wrong through the Guru's word. And when I say Guru means God, Vaheguru means God, all these different words, Ekwan God, they all means God. And so it's being able to see a situation in front of you and be able to determine, is that the truth or is that false? And we can only do that through Gurbani, and Gurbani means the Guru's word. And so there's this line in Gurbani, it says, Gyan Anjan Gurdiya Agyan Andhya Vinas. And it's written by our fifth Guru, and it's written, at the bottom of it, like the rags that it's in, so it says Rag Gauri. And so our Holy Scripture is separated by music, so it's separated by rags. It's not separated by time and history or anything like that, it's all separated by music. And so everything is sung in different tunes. And so this line, it translates to, the Guru has given the healing ointment of spiritual wisdom and dispelled the darkness of ignorance. And the world we live in, sadly, there is a lot of ignorance, there is a lot of racism, there is a lot of sexism, and so it can be dispelled. And it can be dispelled only with Gyan, and Gyan means wisdom. And so it's kind of like if you imagine yourself in a dark room, and there's two glasses, and one's filled with the nectar of the Guru, and one's filled with poison. And when it's dark, you can't see that. So it's in that, it's in spiritual blindness, when you, it's in those times when you can't see, when you can see differences in religion, differences in color, and differences in caste. And when you become spiritually enlightened, that's when you realize the teachings of Ekwan God. Ekwan God is the first word that comes up in our Holy Scripture, and the first word means that God is one, and that God is inside of every single person. So God is inside of every single one of you, even though we're from different backgrounds, different ages, different colors. So God is inside of everybody. And it's being able to see that. It's being able to see that there is really no difference. And so there's this line, it says, Gurki mat bhulehe ayane, bhakt bina bahut rupe syane. Take the Guru's advice, you ignorant fool. Without devotion, even the clever are drowned. And that's once again from the fifth Guru. Sounds a little bit harsh, but it just goes to show you how important it is to follow the Guru's advice. And so it doesn't matter how smart you think you are, how clever you think you are, if you don't follow the Guru, it's hard to get past that ignorance. And so, talked about Sikhi and I've talked about the Guru, but a lot of people don't really know about Sikhi. I get mistaken for a Muslim all of the time. And so I just thought I'd explain a little bit about what Sikhi is. Sikhi is the fifth largest world religion. It comes from India. There's about 30 million followers in Sikhi, and it was started by our first Guru, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and followed him were 10 gurus. So there were 10 gurus in total, and then after the 10th guru decided to take the teachings of all the 10 gurus and put them in our holy scripture, the Guru Granth Sahib. So Guru Granth Sahib Ji is a collection of all the teachings of the gurus, and so that's our present guru right now. And so in the Guru Granth Sahib Ji, the main message is that there's one creator. We believe in one God only, and so here in this picture, there's just a couple of different words that describe the one creator, and that's the creator that resides in every single person. And so if the creator does reside in every single person, that means that we're all one, right? There's one human race. You can see in this picture that there's all these different kinds of people, but they're all the same. That everybody, every single person is equal. And like the readings that I read out before, the line was "Jab aap aap kya jab se kho tat tu." When the difference between myself and others is removed, then everywhere I go, I see only you. And so, like I mentioned before, through meditation and through connecting with God, that's the only way that you can actually see that everybody's equal. I can say it as much as I want to, right? That you're equal and you're equal, we're all equal. But it's not until I get to that spiritual level where I actually believe it. And I'm only 20. I'm not there yet. But that's the goal. And so we do that. You can stay there. And we do that through our 10th gate. So our 10th gate is right at the top of our head. And that's why we wear our turbans, to protect our 10th gate. And that's the gate that you want to open through meditation. So this is a cartoon picture of our first guru, and his name was Guru Nanak. He was born into a Hindu family, and so as Monalena was mentioning before, during Guru Nanak Dev Ji's time, this is in the 1400s, late 1400s, and there was a lot of caste differences. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji was born into the Khatri clan, and right from the beginning, Guru Nanak Dev Ji didn't agree with the caste system, and so Guru Nanak Dev Ji traveled to Rome, Tibet, Sri Lanka, Mecca, all on foot, and just teaching people about that message, about one creator, about equality, about how we need to destroy slavery and we need to destroy oppression. And those were his messages that he taught people about. And so often it's a misconception that Guru Nanak Dev Ji was a Hindu. He was born into a Hindu family, but Guru Nanak Dev Ji never called himself a Hindu. And so after Guru Nanak Dev Ji, there were 10 gurus. So the 5th guru, I'm sure all of you guys have heard of the Golden Temple. We call it the Harmandir Sahib. And when you go to the Golden Temple, there's 4 entrances. And this can represent 2 things. 4 entrances as in that it's open to everybody. It's open from all 4 sides. So if you wanted to go to the Golden Temple today, which I highly recommend, it's a beautiful place, and you would be able to go. It's not closed to anybody. Everybody can go to the Golden Temple. And another thing, well, anybody can go to any Gurdwara, any Sikh temple you can go to. And another thing that I think it represents is that there are so many different ways to get to the one goal. It doesn't matter if you're a Muslim or a Hindu or a Buddhist or a Christian or a Jewish person. There's all these different paths to get to the one creator. The goal is the same. The names are different, the labels are different, but the goal is still the same. And so the 5th guru, he said this line, A lot of the words that show up in the Guru Granth Sahib Ji are by the 5th guru. He wrote the majority of the Gurbani. And so this line, it says, Na koi bairi nahi bigana, sagala sang humko ban ai. No one is my enemy, nor is anyone a stranger to me. I am a friend of all. And that's the kind of state that the guru was in, and that's the kind of state that we want to get in, that you guys are all my friends, none of you guys are strangers to me, and that we're all equal. And those are the teachings of the guru, and they're hard to follow, but we should follow them. And so this is the 6th guru. Well, that's not him, but talking about the 6th guru, he was the son of the 5th guru, and the 5th guru was the first martyr in Sikhi, and he was martyred for freedom of religion. The Sikhs were being oppressed by Mughal emperors, and so in order for them to have the freedom of religion, he gave up his life. So he actually sat on a hot stove and had sand poured over his head, and he was martyred that way. And so after him, the 6th guru, who was his son, instead of getting angry with the Mughals and the emperors who did this to his father, there were poor Muslims who approached him and they asked him, that they didn't have a mosque to pray in, and as Sikhs, it's our job to make sure that if people want to practice their religion, if people want to pray, they should be able to. Everybody has the right to connect to the One. And so instead of getting angry, which I would do, but he instead of getting angry, he built them a mosque. And it just shows you like the amount of forgiveness that it took to get over. Well, the Guru doesn't get angry, but the anger, like the worldly human anger that would be built up inside of any one of us, he didn't have that. And the next one, the 9th Guru, he was approached by Hindu priests. They were being oppressed by the Mughals at that time as well. And they weren't being able to, they were being converted. And so they, knowing that as Sikhs, it's our job to serve and protect and destroy oppression, they approached the 9th Guru, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, and they asked him for his help. And so his 9-year-old son at the time, who later went on to become Guru, told him, Father, why don't you give up your life so that these Hindus can live freely, so that they can practice their religion? He was a very respected person, and so he was beheaded in Delhi. And so because of that, the Hindus were able to openly practice their religion. And so all that ties into the idea of we don't believe in conversion. Anybody has access to Sikhi. There is no conversion process. If you look at this picture, all of these values are probably all values that you guys try to incorporate into your lives anyways. You try to stay away from lust, anger, greed, attachment, and pride, and you try to go towards truth, contentment, compassion, righteousness, and forgiveness. And with that, the level of humility that you have also increases, and your ego is destroyed. And so it's a simple path, the path of the saints. It's a very simple path, and it's open to everybody. And so our 5th Guru, once again, was asked, somebody had asked him, Guru Arjan Dev Ji, what is the best religion? And he said, of all the religions, the best religion is to chant the name of the Lord and do good deeds. So it's not enough to just do good deeds. You have to remember the Lord. You have to remember the Creator that brought you here. And anybody else could be asked that question and they'd say, oh, well, Sikhi is the best. But he didn't say that. Sikhi is not the best. It's the path that follows. It's the path that remembers the Creator. That's the path that's the best. And I just want to read it in Gurmukhi as well. Sarv dharam hai shrestha dharam, har ko naam jap nirmal pan. Once again, Guru Arjan Dev Ji. And so the 10th Guru. This one's a long one. I won't go into it too much, but I'll read it in Gurmukhi. It says, Go Payo Gurya Sannyasi, Go Jogi Payo, Go Brahmachari, Go Jati Anumanvo, Hindu Durg, Go Rafaji Imam Safi Manasaki, Jad Sada Ek Pehchanvo, Karta Kareem Soi Raja Kareem, Koi Dusro Na Ped Goti, Pol Brahmanvo, Ek Hi Ki Sev Sab Hi Go Gurudev, Ek Hi Sarup Saba Ek Jot Janvo. And so in here, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, the 10th Guru, he talks about the Ramanandi monks, he talks about the sannyasis, the brahmachari, the celibates, the different types of Muslims, so Ilif, Fazis, Imam, Shafis. He talks about the name that the Hindus give to the Creator, which is Karta, Kareem, which the Muslims give to the Beneficent. So all these different names, like you may call him Allah, you may call him Ram, and I may call him Vaheguru. And it's those names that they're important, but sometimes they create differences. Even I'm a Muslim, I'm a Hindu, I'm a Sikh. Sometimes just those names create a lot of differences, but it's important to remember that there is no, oh, that's your God and this is my God. And there's one God, and we all believe in the same God. And so yeah, that's important. And so as Sikhs, we don't just like to talk the talk, we like to walk the walk as well. So you can see these values being practiced in our temples. Our temple is called the Gurdwara, and I invite all of you guys to the Gurdwara. Nobody is turned away from the Gurdwara. Everybody is welcome there. There's one in Kitchener. And so in the Gurdwara, there's this idea of langar, and langar means free community kitchen, so it's a free meal. And the way that it works is that everybody sits on the floor together. So that when you sit on the floor, that represents humility, and when you sit together, that represents equality. It's the idea of sharing a meal with somebody and finding something that you guys have in common, somebody that you wouldn't normally talk to, and just realizing that everybody is the same. And so that I invite all of you guys to the Gurdwara. It's a really cool thing that happens there. And women in Sikhi, this is a women's conference, so I'm sure you guys are interested in what the Sikhi say about women. In Sikhi, the creator, Vaheguru, doesn't have a gender, and nor do our souls. So right now you look at me and you see a woman in front of you, but this is my human body, but if there's like my soul inside of me it doesn't have a gender, and that's really important. And so women are allowed to pray, women and men are allowed to pray together, they're allowed to sit together, women are allowed to work, women are allowed to lead congregations, women are allowed to be priests. Our first Sikh was actually a woman. She was the sister of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji is the Guru, and so a Sikh means to learn, and she was his first learner. And so our first names, like my name is Prabhjot, which means God's light, and the first names are unisex. They're not gender specific. And my last name is God, and God it's hard to translate some of these words. It gets translated to princess sometimes, which is not my favorite word. Because when you read like fairy tales and stuff, like I don't know, I just never really liked princesses. God can be a princess, lioness, whatever you want to call it, and Singh. So my fellow Sikh brothers, their last names are Singh, and so these names they stay with us. They're royal surnames. It just tells you the amount of respect that the Guru has given to the Sikhs. The Guru does consider the Sikhs royalty. And so even after marriage, I say of God. Like my name doesn't change. And so also another thing is that women are not sinful. Women don't require a veil. I don't wear my turban to make sure that my fellow Sikh brothers don't look at me. It's more that men and women should both be modest. Men and women should both not be exposing themselves. And it's a responsibility of not only my brothers to watch their eyes, but it's my responsibility too to watch my eyes. It's not, I have to cover myself so that they don't get attracted to me. It goes both ways. It's, once again, the idea of equality. The men and women are equal. And women are not property, women are not slaves, women should not be oppressed. Women are not polluted by menstruation. So women are allowed to pray. It doesn't matter if you are menstruating or not. And the power to give birth in Sikhi is honored like really highly. It's really honored, the fact that women can give birth. It's a true gift. And so even the Guru is described as being the mother. So the Guru is the father, the Guru is the mother, and the Guru is the protector. So as I was mentioning before with the greeting, it says Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh, and Khalsa is the pure army. And so I'm just as much part of the army as my fellow Sikh brothers are. And so when the Guru says to stay armed and to be able to protect others, that means that both men and women should be armed. And another cool thing about Sikhi is that in society, women sometimes feel the need to be hairless, that do your eyebrows, shave your legs, conform to the like society's ideal woman that doesn't exist in Sikhi. The Guru has freed us from that, and so it's just really beautiful the amount of respect that the Guru gives to women. And in the next slide, this is written by the first Guru, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, in Asadiwad, Ragasa. And he says, Pan Jamiya, Pan Nimiya, Pan Mangan Diyaho, Pan Ho Dosti, Pan Ho Chalaraho, Pan Hoa, Pan Paliya, Pan Hova Bandan, Sokyo Manga, Akia Jit Jamane Rajan, Pan Ho Hi, Pan Upja, Panda Vajna Koe, Nanak Panda Bahra, Eko Sacha Soy. And so Pan, that word comes up a lot, Pan means woman. And so it says, from woman, man is born. Within woman, man is conceived. To woman, he is engaged and married. Woman becomes his friend. Through woman, the future generations come. When his woman dies, he seeks another woman. To woman, he is bound. So why call her that? From her, kings are born. From woman, woman is born. Without woman, there would be no one at all. Oh, Nanak, only the true Lord is without a woman. And so it's like that line that says, so why call her bad? From her, kings are born. That one really gets to me. It's there's a lot of respect that goes to women in Sikhi, and like you were mentioning before about how in your Holy Scripture doesn't, like women are somebody's mother or somebody's sister. That sometimes happens in Sikhi too, where sometimes women just get defined as somebody's woman and somebody's mother. But there are a number of women mentioned in the Holy Scripture that are, mentioned in Sikh history that are not just somebody's mother and somebody's sister. My personal role model is a woman by the name of Mata Pal Kaur, and she was a fearless soldier. And there were a number of Sikh men who actually turned their back on the Guru when it was a time of battle, and they got scared of the other side. There weren't many people on their side, and there were more people on the other side, and so they got scared. And so they left the Guru, and she was the one that led them back to the Guru. And so that's really cool too. And so the main idea of Sikhi is dharm. This word often gets mistranslated into religion. Dharm is many things. It's hard to describe it in just one word. It can be justice, righteousness, protection, and service, all of these different things. So as Sikhs, it's our job to serve, it's our job to defend, and it's our job to destroy oppression. So it's like we have to work towards a world where everybody is treated equally. Everybody should have access to food, shelter, medicine, education, and freedom from oppression. And it's our job as Sikhs to make sure that this is happening. For example, the Langar, the Free Community Kitchen, it's impossible to starve in Punjab. There's a gurdwara everywhere. And so it's impossible to go hungry. You have people like on the streets, and like I've been to India myself, and you have people on the streets like begging and stuff like that, and they're saying we're hungry. I feel like there's no excuse. You can't go hungry in Punjab. There's gurdwara everywhere. You can't go hungry. And even the gurdwara is a home, so the gurdwara is open to everybody. So you can't go homeless either. And there's a lot of Sikh hospitals, Sikh orphanages, Sikh shelters. So all of these things make sure that that everyone does have access to these basic needs like shelter and food and education and all of these things. And so, the Sikhs are really known as soldiers. The Sikhs, they just destabilized the Mughal regime. They saved Hinduism extinction. They saved women from being sold into slavery. That happened in Afghanistan. They also fought against the Nazis in World War II, and they were instrumental in India's independence. And so it's our job to make sure that everybody is receiving the rights that they should be receiving. And so I like to think about it as be inspired without converting. You don't have to convert to Sikhi. Anyone can be inspired by the Guru. And anyone can follow the Guru. It's a really easy, accessible path. And so that's the end of my presentation. If you want to learn more about Sikhi, you can go to www.basicsofsikhi.com. All of these pictures are from that website. It's all in English, which is really awesome. Started by this guy in England. And so if you want to learn more about it, you can check that out. And that's all. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.